Good morning. This is Dr. Michael Datcher, and welcome to the 445 Productive Through Joy show. Today, we're talking about the mind and productivity. What is the connection between the mind and one's level of productivity? So, thanks for being here. If you are new, we speak to groups, schools, and organizations about being productive through joy. You can also learn more about us by going to by simply becoming a subscriber here and getting all these videos for free. I did say free, one, two, three, four, free. You can also simply go to productivethroughjoy.com to see about us. We have a very innovative series of programs, offerings, and workshops predicated on the idea that life, it's a narrative-based approach, predicated on the idea that everyone's life has told a story up to now. Everyone's life is currently telling a story, and everyone's life will eventually tell a story when it's all said and written. So we help people think about the story they've told, what they're telling now in terms of their life, and what they want their life to tell, to say, when it's all said and done. So really interesting and powerful program for, again, students, organizations, and groups, and of course, individuals just like you. Again, today we're talking about the mind and productivity, but let me first say a few words about myself. For those of you who are new, this is your host and your boy, Dr. Michael Datcher, author of the New York Times bestseller Raising Fences, which was a Today Show Book of the Month. Picked that book's film rights were optioned by the actor Will Smith, whose people called My People, and I eventually agreed to write the screenplay for that particular project. I'm also the author of the acclaimed historical novel Americus, which is set 13 miles from Ferguson, where Michael Brown's was murdered. God bless that young brother's spirit, and his mama in particular, who is still with us in the physical form. That book interrogates the intersection between violence, race, and family in the American family. I'm also the author of the book came out just a few months ago in October 2019 to 2018. I'm also the author of the spanking brand new book, which came out April 2019, called Animating Black and Brown Liberation, A Theory of American Literatures, which is a book which explores the intersection of activism and literature. Can novels and plays that feature activists and activism as protagonists and as its central narrative force. Can those books teach us something about activism in the modern world and the real world? And also, can we imagine activism as a core proponent in deciding the relative quality import of a work of literature? So the book's really interesting. I'm on the book tour for those last two books, for Americas and Animating Black and Brown Liberation. I'll be in Kentucky. I'll be in Chicago. I'll be in Oakland. I'll be all over the country. So look for me when I come to you. Holler at me. Say what's up. DM me. Meet me for coffee, cognac, or tea. I do all those things. I should also say that I am the board president of the World Stage, a literary and jazz venue here in Los Angeles, 501c3 nonprofit extraordinary organization. And also, my educational background is UC Berkeley as an undergrad. My master's is from UCLA, and my PhD is in English literature from the University of California at Riverside. Listen, I'm an expert at being productive, right? I don't say that to brag or boast, but people are oftentimes surprised at my level of productivity, given how crazy my own personal narrative is. I am the product of a young girl who was violated at 16, gave birth to me at 17, and subsequently gave me up for adoption to a single divorcee. So out of that difficult situation from my biological mother, my adopted mother adopted me again, did a bang-up job, yet at the time, no biological father, no adopted father. Difficult time was for the young MD, yet it's cool. Bodie famously said, how you like me now? And if I can be this productive and be so through joy, we know many of us can do the same thing. So thanks for being here. So let's dive into today's topic. So we're talking about the mind and productivity. And point one is that you want to be able to, I'll just call it, commune with your mind, right? You want to be able to commune with your mind and to become an observer. What does that mean? Well, that means you want to be conscious of what you're thinking about so that you may be able to control your thoughts, which you can do. Most of us, including me, our minds are running us. We can have a feedback loop of things that people told us when we were children, 8, 9, 10 years old, or mistakes we've made when we were younger or not as young. And those things speak to us. We oftentimes find ourselves because our minds are controlling us, living not in the present, but through some, as Stevie Wonder said, either a pastime paradise or a pastime trauma. But we're living our present through the prism of our past. That is an absolute recipe for heartbreak, pain, struggle, and disaster. And I can say those words with such surety because I've been there myself. Point two is that as you begin to master or control your thoughts, you want to be able to control them in a way that can really help you. It is true that the universe hates a vacuum. If you don't focus your thoughts on the things that you want, or on what I would just call something that is, I'll just call it positively progressive, then that which is not positively progressive will get into your mind. Jealousy, negativity, hateration. I mean, I can kind of go on. It is true that in the vernacular, folks say in the religious community that the idleness is an idle mind is a devil's workshop. Is that a bad? I think that's what it says. Although there's no devil per se, but definitely an idle mind will create devilment up in your life, right? So you want to keep your mind, you want to infuse your mind with information. I'm smiling at information. I'm smiling because me and also other people, my children, when we watch a video or something too late at night, it has a way of getting into our minds, and it leads to nightmares. That's my experience. If I watch a movie or I take in material that's just not good for me, it circulates in my mind, and I end up having a nightmare, like literally having a bad evening of sleep because literally my mind is been hijacked. In a very similar way, if we don't play something, so what I do now is I read before I go to sleep, or I play this really interesting this meditation video, basically, which is about about claiming what we are. Just placing that information in my mind at night is extraordinary. It allows me to place that in my consciousness when I go to bed at night. So it's a big difference between that and having a nightmare, which goes right into point three. You can decide to have a dream or a nightmare. You can manifest your dreams, or you can manifest a nightmare. The mind is not a respecter of persons, meaning, listen, if you think something bad, if that's your perspective, if you think that something bad is going to happen in the most simple, in the binary way, bad, although bad is subjective, but if you think that something that you don't want to happen is going to happen, and you keep replaying that loop, you have a very good chance of making that thing happen. Most of us have had that experience when you you dread something, and man, if that thing does not happen. I mean, I know folks who've spoken up things and bad things that they did not want to happen, and those things have happened. In contradistinction, when you place your mind on what you want, when you control your thoughts and you combine those thoughts with emotion, that's the key. Heightened emotions are like our fear, our confidence, sex, things that create emotion, but in what I call positive emotion, excitement, enthusiasm. When you combine your thoughts with something that's emotionally exciting, as you're going through the process of holding those thoughts, you have a great opportunity, there's a great possibility based upon your faith, your work at holding those thoughts with and combining those thoughts with a level of excitement or emotion. You have there's a great chance that thing can happen. I've experienced the situation many, many, many times. I know that of which I speak. This is a real thing. So I'll leave it at that. Boom. If you follow those dictates, you will certainly have an enhanced level of productivity. Thanks for being here, guys. We love and respect you. We'll see you this afternoon at 4:45 p.m. Until then, let's talk about it and be about it. Deuces.